Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Their Excellencies, the Right Honourable Dame Patsy Reddy, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Sir David Gascoigne.
E honore he kororia he mau ngārongo ki runga ki te matua te whenua. E whakaaro pai ki ngā tangata katoa. Aro haina ngā teina me ngā tuakana e noho nei rungi te whakaaro tahi pai mai. Kei ngā mana, kei ngā reo. Rauranga tira mā, koutou ko tatu mai rungi te reo karanga o te rā, i rungi te reo karanga, a tō tātou nei kāwana tianara, a tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, nau mai, piki mai, kake mai.
I ngā mana, ngā reo, i ngā iwi o ngā hoe whā. Tēnei aku mihi nui ki a koutou. Kia ora tātou katoa, nau mai haere mai rā ki te whare kawana. I specifically acknowledge the Honourable Priyanka Radhakrishnan, Minister of the Crown, Kerry Gregory, National Commander of Fire and Emergency New Zealand, a kuia Ranui Ngārimu, a kaumātua Joe Harawira, tēnā koutou. And a very special welcome to today's honours recipients. Today we bring together 7 honours recipients, along with their family and friends, to recognise the contributions they've made to our country. As Governor-General, I have the authority and the privilege, on behalf of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of New Zealand, to hold an investiture for her and to confer honours, royal honours, our nation's highest honours, on individuals who've made exceptional contributions to their communities and our nation. Hosting an investiture ceremony is one of the most important duties I perform as Governor-General because it allows me to recognise and thank them on behalf of all New Zealanders for helping to make Aotearoa New Zealand a better place to live. Some recipients have a national public profile, others will be well known in their particular communities. But what they have in common is the positive impact they've made on the economic, environmental, social and cultural well-being of our nation. I hope this will be a memorable day for you and for your family and friends who've come to witness your investiture and celebrate with you. As each recipient comes forward, I invite you all to join me in thanking and congratulating them for their service to our country. And now Mr. Ward Kamal will read citations for each recipient and invite them to come forward to receive their insignia.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Member of the Order of New Zealand, Distinguished Professor Dame Anne Salmon of Auckland for services to New Zealand. Dame Anne Salmon is an eminent writer and social scientist who is internationally recognised for her work since the 1970s on cross-cultural exchanges and environmental matters. Dame Anne is a distinguished Professor of Māori Studies and Anthropology at the University of Auckland, where she was also Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Equal Opportunity, from 1997 to 2006. She has been Vice President, Social Sciences and Humanities of the Royal Society of New Zealand, and in 2013 was the first social scientist to be awarded the Rutherford Medal. She has written a series of prize-winning books that focus on what happens when people from different cultures encounter and engage with each other. Her works include 3 early books about contemporary Māori life, 2 that explore early exchanges between Māori and Europeans, and 3 about the European exploration of the Pacific, focusing on Captain Cook, Tahiti, and Captain Bligh, respectively. She has also written about climate change, the restoration of rivers, forests, and the ocean. She has had a lifelong engagement with our Māori, working alongside Kuia and Kaumātua and presenting evidence in the Muriwhenua Land and Fisheries Treaty claims, the Ngā Puhi claim for Te Tiriti or Waitangi, and the first test case of the treaty clause of the Resource Management Act. She is chairperson of the Long Bush Ecological Trust and the patron of a number of environmental and community organisations. Since 2014, she has been a member of the Air New Zealand Sustainability Panel and led Te Awaroa, Voice of the River project restoring rivers across New Zealand. She was chair of the New Zealand Historic Places Trust Board from 2001 to 2007 and a member of the boards of the Foundation for Research, Science and Technology and the Museum of New Zealand. Since 2017, Dame Anne has hosted the Māori TV documentary series, Artefact. Distinguished Professor Dame Anne Salmon, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Ms. Rosalind Noonan of Auckland, for services to human rights. Rosalind Noonan was the Chief Commissioner of the New Zealand Human Rights Commission from 2001 to 2011. She led the Commission's transformation from an anti-discrimination body to an internationally acclaimed human rights institution and initiated the first New Zealand Action Plan for Human Rights. She is chairperson of Amnesty International Aotearoa New Zealand. She was director of the New Zealand Centre for Human Rights Law, Policy and Practice at the University of Auckland's Law School. She recently chaired the review into New Zealand's Family Justice Services. She has represented New Zealand workers at the International Labour Conference. On the nomination of the Asia-Pacific region, Ms. Noonan was chairperson of the International Coordinating Committee of National Institutions for the Promotion and Protection of Human Rights. Ms. Rosalind Noonan, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. James Doherty of Murupara, for services to Māori and conservation. James Doherty has been a lead contributor to developing the mātauranga o te ngahere o Toa Whenua Ruatahuna forest law knowledge, an assembly of the traditional knowledge of the species of the lands and forests of the Toa Whenua. He is chair of the Tūhoe Toa Whenua Trust. He was a member of the Ngā Matapopore Māori Research Advisory Group, the Te Herenga Regional Network, and the Claims Committee of Te Runanga Nui o Te Ika Whenua. He is a delegate for the Tūhoe Manawaru Tribunal and was chair of the Kaingaroa Village Council. He represented New Zealand at the inaugural Indigenous Peoples and Local Communities Dialogue Workshop in Panama City. Mr. Doherty has co-authored a number of scientific peer-reviewed papers and book chapters and co-presented at conferences with Manaaki Whenua researchers. Mr. James Doherty, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Dr. Sally Ann Harbison of Auckland, for services to forensic science. Dr. Sally Ann Harbison leads the forensic biology team at the Institute of Environmental Science and Research, ESR. She has played a significant part in prominent New Zealand cases and contributed to the development and application of New Zealand's forensic DNA capability. In 1999, she worked on the first homicide case solved by using the DNA Profile Databank. She has represented ESR on international committees and spoken at many conferences and meetings. Dr. Harbison has supervised more than 60 MSc and PhD students at the University of Auckland, led the Biology Specialist Advisory Group of the Australia-New Zealand Forensic Executive Committee, and been an assessor for Australia and American accreditation bodies. Dr. Sally Ann Harbison, please come forward. Professor Sean Hendy of Auckland for services to science. Professor Sean Hendy is Director of Te Pūnaha Matatini, a New Zealand Centre of Research Excellence focusing on the translation of complex systems and networks into understandable knowledge for eliciting change. He lectures in the University of Auckland's Faculty of Science. He was Deputy Director of the McDiarmid Institute for Advanced Materials and Nanotechnology and President of the New Zealand Association of Scientists. He is a public spokesperson on scientific issues and has published across a range of fields. He abstained from flying throughout 2018 to reduce his emissions, which inspired his book, #NoFly. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Professor Hendy's projections on the rate of transmission have helped public understanding. Professor Sean Hendy, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mr. John Baumer of Kaiwaka for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand and the community. John Baumer is Chief Fire Officer at the Kaiwaka Volunteer Fire Brigade, of which he has been a member since 1977. In the past 10 years, he has attended 847 call-outs. He supported the neighbouring community of Mangahoe as they rebuilt their struggling brigade. Following the closure of the St John First Responder Unit in Kaiwaka, he invited displaced first responders to join the brigade. He has supported local road safety improvements, been a member of his local Lions Club, and been active in community fundraising. Mr. Baumer has supported the local civil defence team and assisted with rescues. Mr. John Baumer, please come forward. Mr. Bob Norling of Ohakune for services to railway heritage and the community. Bob Norling is the founder and chair of the Main Trunk Rail organisation. He has undertaken numerous projects to conserve railway history in the Ruapehu district. He helped to restore the Ohakune railway station and develop the Ohakune Railway Museum. He restored the Ohakune Coach Road as a popular walking and cycling trail. He led the effort to erect a Tangiwai Disaster Memorial. He is a member of the Executive Committee of the Ohakune 2000 Incorporated Organisation for Community Betterment. Mr. Norling is a committee member of the local Lions Club and manages the Ohakune Christmas Parade. Mr. Bob Norling, please come forward. Excellency, the investiture has concluded.
Our honours system is our nation's highest public affirmation of outstanding individual achievement. It reinforces values and behaviours that sustain our communities and help our nation thrive and prosper. And these include service, courage, manaakitanga, and the pursuit of knowledge and excellence. By using their talents to make ours a better society, whether by service to their communities or by their leadership in diverse fields of endeavour or their commitment to excellence in their own field of expertise, our recipients have set a fine example for others. Today, Dame Anne Salmon joined a select group of 20 living New Zealanders who are recognised with our nation's highest honour, the Order of New Zealand. Dame Anne's mana and prestige is acknowledged by the presentation to her today of the insignia which has only been presented once before to Dame Te Ata Irangi Kahu, who was Ariki Nui of Māori Kingitanga from 1966 until her death in 2006. To all of today's recipients, it's been a privilege to hear your stories today. You've demonstrated determination, commitment and compassion in your daily lives. In your own way, each of you has helped make Aotearoa New Zealand a better place. In some cases, your influence and the positive impact of your work has extended beyond our shores. Your actions and the stories we've heard today bring to mind the words of Tupuia Herangi, who was the great aunt of Dame Te Ata Irangi Kahu, and said, "Mahia te mahi he painga mō te iwi." When you work for the well-being of the people. On behalf of all New Zealanders, I thank you for helping to make Aotearoa a better place for all of us, whether by dedicating your lives to the public good, achieving distinction in your chosen field, or inspiring others with your leadership. Please wear your insignia with pride, knowing that your contributions are recognised and valued, and others are inspired by your example. Kia ora hui hui tātou katoa. Ladies and gentlemen, that almost brings to a close the formal part of today's ceremony. But before we break, I'd ask you to stand and join me in singing our national anthem.
Yeah.